Howdy, 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 everyone. Hey, welcome to the live stream. We got that almost to the second. I'm pretty happy about that. Hey, hope everyone's doing well out there. This is obviously the Christmas special, so welcome. And we're coming at you from Franklin, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. And right now it's green as anything out there, but we're hoping, there is a off chance we could have a white Christmas. You never know, because it's the South. And if you don't like the weather, just wait a couple minutes and you never know what you'll get. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. We're going to be doing some cool stuff in the show. In particular, I'm going to be giving away a number of things. You see behind me, the comics, not the robots. The robots are mine. But anyway, so please post questions in the chat. There will be special prizes, and we'll be doing some trivia later on and so forth. Yeah, and also keep my email is at the top of the chat there. Go ahead if you do happen to win anything during the show, and be honest, you'll need to send me your details, so forth, for shipping everything, and we'll take it from there. Anyway, okay, so let's do a quick check here. Says Pete. Greg says, "Why does the Santa in your title screen only have 3 reindeer? Hopefully the other 5 aren't in COVID ICU." As far as I know, everything's good. Honestly, Mark makes the graphics. Ask him. If you're a graphic designer, it's always easier to lay things out with odd numbers of objects. I think it just looked cool, and maybe the other 5 are out, partying on the town. I have no idea. All right, so Troy says I'm getting ComicBase Pro 2021 for Christmas. Sweet, and I hope you enjoy firing it up when you do. By the way, oh, and it says no picture. You should have picture. That was picture of my screen just now. Hopefully, I saw the monitor cycle just now, but hopefully that's coming up now. I see on the program monitor that we're good. And hopefully that's coming across to y'all out there in the world. Let me just quickly check the YouTube feed and make sure, because, yeah, that can put a damper on things if we don't actually have anything going on. So let's see the live stream. Oh my goodness, I'm getting stream. No, it looks like we're good. We got the odd picture warning, but I think we're okay. All right, so all right, let's see what we got here. And Andre says no video. Man, I hope everything's good now. All right, audio but no video, blank screen, no picture, no picture, no video. We have picture now. Got nothing, guys. I saw like a big screen redraw, reflicker thing across all the switchers, but I think we're good. Okay, so let's work at a couple of questions. Wow, thank you, by the way, for posting all the questions to the chat. It's exactly what I asked for, and you went and did it. Okay, so Rob says, in the collection overview in the mobile app, how about an option to show just the missing regular issues? Not interested in seeing variants, trades books, etc. Okay, so the mobile app, for you guys who haven't used it before, is basically when it's showing reports. It's showing reports that you've generated from pre-done from the app itself. So you can do this either by doing a save to the web in your Pro or your Archive editions. And by the way, one thing we threw in there I didn't get a chance to brag about last time is you now can have multiple reports. You can actually give your reports names, so when you save them to the web, you can have as many reports as you want of a given type. So if you want to say, here's just my Marvel books, here's just my Judge Dredd comics, here's you can go nuts. You can do that as much as you want. But also, the mobile app will do automatic saving of certain standard reports, which is to say, if you use Sidekick and you go into its settings, you look at its save to cloud settings, it can automatically generate collection reports, collection overviews, issue checklists, and what have you, which are all going to be the standard versions of those reports. So kind of 2 questions we got going on here. One is, can we add a separate option into the collection report which allows you to say, can I only see standard issues as opposed to all the variants? And I think that's a great idea, honestly. It's not that hard to do. It's part of the work we did with ComicBase 2020 is to make it so it's relatively easy for us to give you a sort of just the regular issues of a given thing. Every time you download an update and you see that part where it says, checking variants, that's what it's actually doing there, is computing the index of which of these issues are main issues and which ones aren't. Because it's actually a somewhat complicated question, because some issues have no main issues. Sometimes there's instead of just there being a 1, 2, 3, 3A, 3B, 3C. Sometimes it's there's 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 5B, 5C. Sometimes there is no regular issue of a given thing, and we need to be able to say when that happens, so we show you all the variants when there is no regular one. But anyway, it is relatively easy for us to add the show me only the regular issues as a report option to the collection report, and I think that's something we could probably squish in next year. If then as a secondary thing, could we make that savable to the web? Sure, we could go that far. It's a bit of extra work, but we could do it. The third thing, though, it gets actually a little bit more semantically tricky, is to say, is that going to be the standard option? Because one of the things about doing the auto reports, if you've seen that in Sidekick, is they don't let you set all the report options. That would be like 9,000 parameters if you try to set all the report options within the auto reporting. So I have to hold fire on that one as to say whether that becomes the standard or not. I'm interested in what you guys think. Is if you were going to say what is the standard version of a collection report, should it only be the one that shows only the regular issues and the owned issues, or should it be that it shows everything? The default right now is it shows everything of a given title. So if with a title like Doctor Who 7th series is the 9th Doctor or something, everything is a variant. I mean, there's 1A, 2A, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2A, 2AB, and so forth. There is no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to show, so everything would show. But for most titles, there is at least the concept of this is the regular cover. So should that be the default? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. If it's overwhelming that people feel like the default of a collection report ought to be A, that it has the option to show only the regular issues, and then B, that ought to be the default, then that actually makes my last part easier, because if it's the default to show only the regular issues, then I don't need to do new interface and things like that to have it be the auto report as well. So that is the very involved answer to Rob's question. Hope that helps, but yeah, please let me know what you think. And also on any of these things, if you have further thoughts or want to follow up on the whole thing, by all means, feel free to write us directly at support@comicbase.com. We're always happy to hear from you guys and to get your opinions on things. All right. Let's see here. Okay, more things about pictures. Screen visible, not you. Good. Everything good. Good. Everything's good. Okay. All right. Greg asks, what will the content update schedule for this week be and next week? This is happy COVID, everyone. This is going to be one of the more unusual schedules for the ComicBase in history. Traditionally, we don't work starting New Year's Eve. When we're all normal times, we kind of come in the office, we change the phone messages, we have some brandy and coffee cake, exchange presents. I send everyone home. And then nobody works until New Year's except me, who comes in the office and tries like crazy to fill orders just so no one's Christmas gets ruined. But typically, no one's working all of next week. That's not what's happening this week. So what's happening is today, Mark is busily pushing out this week's update. No one's working tomorrow and Christmas Day, but then we have a normal week after that. So we should be reachable throughout all that, and the update should be hitting at the normal-ish time next week, unless somehow it gets held up. If book shipments get delayed or something, then we'll change it up a little bit, but we'll post things to the webpage if so. Certainly to the Facebook group, and we'll take it from there. And we should be reachable for normal tech support hours next week. If you need us, email is certainly the easiest way to go. Because we have no lives, we tend to respond to email at all hours. And also, certainly, take advantage of the forums. If you want an answer at 4 a.m. on some deeply technical question, I know no better way to do it, because God knows I'm not answering your question at 4 a.m. So, but there are sometimes people out there who do. So, definitely feel free to post any questions or comments to the forums. That's also a great way to get help out here. I'm really proud of you guys for having a really high, as they call it, signal-to-noise ratio on the forums. It's one of the best ones I've ever seen, where there's a real minimum of garbage on there, and really great responses from all y'all to everyone's questions and how to do certain things and whatever. And so, anyway, that's on the long list of people I want to be thanking in a bit. All right. Blizzard in Minneapolis, says Oro. Nice. Although he had a nor'easter 2 weeks ago, 9 to 12 inches predicted. Wow, that's going to be interesting. Okay, let's see. John P says ComicBase TV can't get the screensaver work. It says not enough pictures found. So what that's probably is. So, and this got fixed in a later update. So if you download the very latest version of the software, it's still considered a prelim build. So it's not going to force you to update. But if you download, I think we're at build 13.11 right now. If you download that, it tweaks the screensaver so that if you had it set to show all media types beforehand, it didn't used to always get the count right for how many items you had set. Whereas it would always work if you said, I want to show my magazines, or I want to show my comics or else. But if you'd say, I want to show everything, previous versions of the screensaver didn't get that count right. We tweaked that a couple weeks ago, and that should work for you if you've got that now. So download the latest, and you should be golden. All right. Let's see. Greg says, I guess for a Christmas present, I got a complete set of Superman 3 trading cards. Sad part is remembering how bad the movie was. Oh, so true. All right, and John P says, update the latest version. Yes, again, I could save so much time if I simply read what everyone's response to everyone else's question was, and then I wouldn't have to say it. All right, on to other things. Excuse me a minute. I gotta actually take a breath for. I don't know if you guys know this, but I spent a lot of my day on Wednesdays actually prepping for the show here, and because it's been the holiday season, we've all been very busy. I spent a lot of time on a tech support call up until about 10 minutes before showtime, so give me just a second. All right, so format of today, and I'm going to watch the time, and I'm really going to try to be out of here by 5. So it's basically this. There's going to be a little bit of news. I want to say thanks to some folks. I want to share some gift ideas for if you're still looking for presents for the comic geek in your life. I will tell you some things that I found useful or that I have been lusting after, and maybe that will inspire some thoughts, for y'all. And if it does, then mazel tov, it all worked out. And if it doesn't, well, just buy them a copy of ComicBase. How can you ever go wrong with that, right? And by the way, on that note, this is the one plug I'll give for my own product during the show. The ComicBase holiday sale, the one most predictable sale of our entire sales year, is on right now. Honestly, do yourself a favor. This is as low as the prices ever get. I'm not making this up at all. If you're ever thinking about buying a ComicBase, if you're thinking about upgrading, if you're thinking, hey, the prices might go up next year, let me get my upgrade early, this is when you want to be doing this. Because it is actually the lowest prices we do all year round on every single thing we make. We do it on barcode scanners, we do it on upgrades, we do it on new software, and so forth. And we try our living daylights to convince you that this is the year you finally want to upgrade to the archive edition. Because one of the wrinkles of our pricing that we have been keeping in there forever to encourage you is that it's actually cheaper if you pay attention to the sales here to get your from your Pro or your Express or whatever else to upgrade to the current archive edition than it is to just buy it straight, even at the sale prices. So if you're ever thinking of taking advantage of those 675,000 beautiful pictures and that wonderful screensaver we've got out there that will show off all the comics in the universe to you all year long, grab it now, and honestly, you could do me a favor if you grabbed it ahead of time and not wait until 2 minutes before the sale ends like everyone else does, because that just tends to cause all sorts of drama that who needs more drama in your life this year. I would like to definitely encourage you to do that. All the details are on the top of our website, www.comicbase.com. It's the top news item. Look for the big shiny Christmas sale graphic, and it'll tell you everything that's going on. But check it out. So anyway, that's the commercial. Enough of that stuff. All right. So first of all, news. There is, as I mentioned before, a new build out today. Fixes just a couple of little things. We do slide these things in from week to week, just fixing little tweaky bits as we discover them. I'd say probably the big feature of this latest build over what was out there last week is that if you're ever auto-typing a publisher's name and the publisher you're trying to type is it's an exact subset of an existing publisher that's already there. So like if you're trying to type a new publisher called Mar Comics or something like Mar, it was, as soon as you type M-A, I think it's going to default to Marvel, right? At which point you say, well, no, the publisher I want to type is just Mar. At that point, you can actually type M-A-R, hit a space and a backspace, it'll take Mar. This is a problem that 3 people in the universe are ever going to have, but now if you've had that problem, your problem is gone. And hopefully that's the only problem you've got in your life and everything will be wonderful. But anyway, we do publish these little update builds as you go. If you want to get notified every time we do any little futsy fix like that, go to, in ComicBase, go to your setup menu, go to preferences, and it's, I think the second item down is you can check off to have it automatically check for updates. And if you check the box that says include interim builds, you'll get notified when you launch ComicBase every single time we do something new. With the new version, updating to the latest version is usually about a minute. So yeah, go ahead and do that. It doesn't hurt. And it'll keep you up with all the little futzy stuff. So hopefully, little things, if they are annoying you, will stop annoying you. Okay, so that's that one. There is a new update coming today, as I mentioned. I don't have the stats on that one yet because Mark is working his butt off back in San Jose to get that happening, and Jill and the rest of everyone is trying to get all their content posted as much as we can. I don't have a sense yet as to what the size of this update will be. The last couple of them have been just epic. They've been thousands of new items and close to 10,000 combined new pictures and corrections on a weekly basis. This is stupid amounts of new stuff. I don't know what this one will be. Maybe there's just 80 new books out there. But I do know, and sadly, we did not quite hit 900,000 comics. So I don't have the ability to brag about that one quite yet. Probably next week, but we'll see. I will be doing a year-end wrap-up newsletter at the end of it, which will talk about everything we did during the year. And that's when I go and I pull the stats out of the logs and say exactly how many hundreds of thousands of price changes went on this year, how many tens of thousands of new pictures got added, and so forth. And so I'll pull the stats on the year. I expect this year will blow the doors off of anything we've ever done before. And last year left me gobsmacked with how much we'd done. So anyway, should be interesting, but I'll put that on next week. All right. Next big item of business. This is the time, I mean, you'd think it'd be Thanksgiving would be the time when you sit there and you just say thanks to everyone. But this is, honestly, this is the time for me to really just say, guys, thanks for supporting this wacky business which I'm in, and I've been in for, I'm going to be pushing 29 years now of ComicBase. It's almost 30 years ago today that we started work on what would have become ComicBase 1.0. But for the smallest, nichiest, weird little field that started, you can't believe that I've been blessed to stay in this field as long as I have. And it's been kind of wacky and wonderful the whole time. So thank you guys for supporting everything we do. We don't do it unless you guys believe in us enough to get your wallets out and pay for our product and believe in us enough to try what we do every year. And gosh, I can't thank you enough. So on behalf of my family, on behalf of the entire staff here at Human Computing, thanks for supporting what we do, guys. It means the world to us. That said, there are other people I need to thank. I'll try to keep it briefly. This isn't like an awards speech. I don't have something, a lovely statue to point out here. But it's, I do got to say, I gotta say thanks, because again, it's you guys are the ones who keep us around. Thank you additionally to everyone who has liked and subscribed to this video channel. This live stream is a wacky thing that we started in the early part of just about when summer is about ready to get kicked in, just to say hi through this crazy year of ours and try to keep in touch with the rest of the world. It's been a lot of fun. But thank you everyone who hit that subscribe button and hit the notification and hit the thumbs up like on the whole thing. It helps spread the word around. Please tell your friends. I'm amazed at how knowledgeable everyone has been in the chats and the live stream. Like I say, I don't need to answer half the questions because somebody in the stream will have hit it before I can even notice the question and answer it myself. You guys are terrific. Thank you so very much for showing up every week. I don't know that this is a great time for folks in general. It's the only time I could make it happen in my week. And thanks for showing up. I do appreciate it. And thank you for everyone who caught it on the replay as well. Finally, thank you to everyone who sends in data. We have had people this year who've sent in excess of 100,000 new items, corrections, cover dates, pictures, you name it. It's crazy amounts of data. On one hand, it makes our editors want to commit suicide, the sheer flood of the whole thing. On the other hand, I am gobsmacked at how much you guys know about comics and how much you've been able to to share that with everyone else around the world, especially when you get into foreign comics. hey, I thought I was a worldly guy because I knew a lot about 2000 AD, and I'll pat myself on the back that I actually was in the offices and I was able to share with the editor. It's like, oh, hey, I've actually created the first workable index of your entire series. He's like, oh, that's nice. You guys sent, that was 1,000 some books at the time. You guys send in that amount of data every damn month. So well done, everyone. I'm blown away. Thank you so much, and you keep us honest, and you make the product better for everyone. So thank you for that. And finally, I want to say thank you to all the beta testers. This is a very select group when we're getting ready to do a new version of ComicBase. We tried this for the first time when we did ComicBase 2020, where we spent, gosh, I want to say the better part of a year in a private, if you guys know what Slack is, it's a messaging platform where we can post messages and share things in real time, different builds and everything else, in between a small group of folks, where we can try it out with, some of our more dedicated and some would say masochistic customers, and show every darn iota of how the sausage is made, get everyone's feedback in real time about what's working, what's not working. Hey, what blew up on my copy of Parallels because I've got the screen settings set to something funky that no one would ever have known until it got out in the real world. At some point we have definitely got to get somebody from French Canada on board on the whole thing, because French-speaking Canada, because the bane of our last 2 software releases, we've had at least one what I would consider a breaking bug in the first week of release come out that only appears on French-Canadian systems. But this is the kind of thing where, like, it doesn't matter how hard we test it in-house, and no matter how many builds we go through, until we get out in front of the customers, you're never going to know all the weird stuff that's out there, all the different idiosyncratic ways of using the software, all the different configurations and strange laptop hybrids and surfaces and mobile devices that everyone will ever try it on. Who's got their thing set to a weird currency setting that we'd never contemplated, who's transferring it between a Turkish system and Australian dollars. I mean, it's, you name it. It's way too much. No one could ever do this whole thing alone. And like I say, there's a small group of customers and fans and whatever who donate a lot of their time to being part of the inside workings when we get ready for a new release, to try out everything as it goes. And it's when things go relatively smoothly when it goes out to wider releases, because these guys put up with a whole lot of bad releases that no one except them ever saw while we were building out the new version. Thank you to everyone who keeps us honest on that stuff and who continues to keep us honest to this day. And if you're interested in joining, whatever we call the next release of ComicBase, I mean, the current one's only about 3 weeks old, but if you're interested in joining us when we cycle the next build of the whole thing, I will put out the call, and you're welcome to join us, and we'd love to see you there. So anyway, that's all the thanks from everything. Let me get around to some of the fun stuff here, and I'm going to start giving away things, all right? Okay, first of all, before I do that, let me quickly check the chat. I want to make sure I haven't forgotten something super, super important here. So, scrolling. Johnson, I'm drinking a Coke Slurpee. Did I spike that Sunkist with something? No, yes, sadly, Greg, I am actually doing the Christmas live stream soaker, yes. I very much thought about, because there was a coffee cup with half-drunk coffee in it downstairs. I thought, well, if I were to put some Irish whiskey in that, I mean, who would know, right? Well, darn it, I'd know. No, the beers are for after the show, and there will be beers. All right. Andre, here's a suggestion for a gift. You can give us a year subscription to ComicBase. My friends, if you guys have seen my live stream on Going Pro, you will know that as much as I love you all, that is the one thing I will never do. Like I said, it was one of the weirder pieces of advice I found myself giving this year. It's like, basically, whatever a man does for a living, never ask for that thing for free. I think about the people are painting houses next door, who mow lawns, who interior decorators, who do whatever else, whatever that thing is they do for a living. Nah, that's the one thing they can never give away for free without incurring at least some kind of weird status problem, where people wonder, is this guy really a pro, or do I really value this as much as I used to? It causes so much problems just in how he fits into his own world and how you relate to him, that no, I honestly, I'd rather give you my prized robots off the back wall than I'd give you that. Not that I'm offering, okay? All right, anyway. Okay, Payday's Friday, part of this earmark for ComicBase. Sweet, excellent. Thank you, Jeff. All right, see, with correction submissions, how do I know if somebody else has already submitted it? You don't. The one thing I'm trying to do is we're trying to make sure we drain the submissions every week. We've really put on a lot of effort this last time out. Oh, I'm sorry, I just noticed the keying wasn't set there, so you can't see them on the live stream. Hopefully, hopefully this is a little bit better. So Craig Gurman was asking, with correction submissions, how do I know if somebody else has already submitted it? What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that if there's a given, if you've been downloading the most current updates, and if we've been doing our job of keeping on top of the updates, that no more than a week will ever go by between when a submission was put on there and when it's out in the world. If we do our job, then if the data's been wrong for more than a week, then assume we didn't have it. But you know, there's nothing lost if you submit something we already know. You know, but you know, you're not helping either. I mean, what happens at our editor's level is if we have already made a change in the database and somebody submits the same thing, like let's say someone said that a certain cover date was, you know, December, and it should have been November. So we move it from December to November, and somebody else comes in and says, well, it was also in November. Our entry will already say November at that point, and so when we go to process your correction, it'll say, everything's already matching, so it just moves on to the next one. So it doesn't hurt anything, but it doesn't help either. But yeah, the best thing we can do to really is just do our job and keep on top of things so that we don't leave mistakes out there. Okay, let's see. Andre, ComicBase TV. Pete, how does it work now for covers? Is it going to be a different set of discs to download? I think I understand the question. If I don't, please clarify with me. So covers work the same way they did before. Every time we do a new release of ComicBase, we update the basic set of covers that came with it. So we spend, you know, a better part of a week compressing all our entire art library as of ship date into the different formats we need for DVD, for, you know, Blu-ray, etc. And those get put out there on the disk archive sets. We try to update those once a quarter, give or take, for the base sets, so that if you're somehow on a brand new computer and you need to kind of catch up and install everything from scratch, if you were to download the latest images, they would be current as of about that quarter. Now, we can't do this every week because it literally takes a week to do the compression on a fast machine to do that. But if you've been downloading everything every week using Sidekick, you're actually getting the better quality pictures than we can fit onto discs, automatically downloaded every week as you go. And the new pictures are now no longer visibly watermarked, and so they look as good as anything we could ever put on the disc anyway. So that's really the best way to go, is get the software installed once, and then let Sidekick download the updates every week, and then you're always going to have the latest pictures, and you don't need to do anything special as you go there, unless, like I say, unless you're moving on to a new machine or something like that, and you need to start over for some reason. All right, let's see here. Thank you for not selling out to a big outfit. Yeah, it's funny. It's you look back over the years, we've had one or two chances to do something weird like that, and one of them was the first time someone offered me, you know, I don't know if you guys ever have this in your life. There's a certain number of digits you ever thought, wow, it'd be really cool if I ever earned that number of digits. And the first time there was an offer that was, you know, it was forming up that had the kind of digits that kind of make your eyes go, whoa. Had I sold out to them, the company would have been dead within 9 months. I might not have collected, you know, the money had it gotten there. As it was, I got a couple free lunches out of it as we talked about the broad parameters of what everyone was looking for, but I never got, you know, I never got too far down the line of wanting to ever sell out human computing or ComicBase, just because it's a weird thing to say, like, well, what if you gave you all the money to do anything you want, but we take away the one thing you really like doing in the process? It's like, oh, why would I want to do that deal? So that's, it's been interesting over the years, but no, guys, it's been fun. All right, let's see here. Some really lovely words of thank you, everyone who said nice things in the chat. I'm not going to click them all, but thank you so much. All right. Oh yes, and that would be the on 3.5-inch disc. Man, if anyone has the old 3.5-inch copy of ComicBase still, that was literally my own hands sticking those into floppy drives, and you know compressing them and everything, and sticking them into a comic bag, you know, along with the manual that became the original product on everything. That if you've got one of those, you go way back. You are seriously OG if you have that. Okay, so let's see here. Aaron says, I've noticed the price of Star Wars books have really gone up in price, not in ComicBase. It depends. I've seen a lot of action on things like Rogue Squadron, things like that. And one of the ways I know that things are moving is because Atomic Avenue gets cleaned out. So, like, I'll take things that I've been having for sale for a million years on Atomic Avenue, like in my Star Wars section, and then over the last couple weeks, people have just been going to town on me. I was starting to wonder if the Star Wars franchise was just dead as a doornail, but I'm starting to think, wow, there's some life in the old girl, because I've noticed, first of all, that all my books got sold, and then seconds later on the next update, anything that didn't get sold right away had spiked in price, and then it went up. So the prices are moving. It's book by book. It's not like just all of Star Wars went up, but definitely there are properties within the Star Wars series that have definitely taken a big spike. It'd be interesting. I haven't reviewed the last couple of weeks of top gainers and losers reports, but I know just from my own sales that I've seen a lot of action on that. So it'd be interesting to look at. All right. Troy asks, getting my ComicBase 2021 Pro for Christmas, does the software allow entries and prices for signed comics? It does. I won't rehash the entire thing, but there was a long series of podcasts I did on it in the middle of the summer about how do you, what price do you put on an autograph? If I want to see, Livestream number 17, give or take, went into that issue. The short answer, yes, you can do it, but at the same time, it's probably impossible to know what price it should be, because it winds up being so unique as to whether or not it moved the price at all. Depending on who you had sign it, some people would consider the signature a defect. Some people would consider it a priceless thing that can never be known. What I would suggest in any case is once you figured out what you want for the comic book, hit the lock price button on that particular issue. Depending on where you're at, if you're in the grid, it's called lock price. If you're in the detailed view, it's called prevent. It's got a very long name. It's something like prevent update from changing price. If you check that off on an individual comic, it lets you do things like saying, let the update affect the price of every other comic in my database, but not this one, because this one's special. I would do that if I had some signed books from someone who was really cool that I thought they were worth a lot more than market value for. So that'd be my advice on that. Gray asked what my favorite holiday issues are. I'm going to answer that in a bit, but let me just, I want to drain the rest of these chats, and I want to give away some stuff I really don't want to go over today. All right, let's see here. And John got his 4K limited sketch cover Blu-ray yesterday. Guys, by the way, I'm really happy at we finally have the final art of the different editions. But it's funny, I've had multiple people come up and say, hey, if you've got any left, I want you to send me the sketch variant of the software. That's actually been really kind of cool. I always thought the sketches were cool, but I wondered if it was just me, and apparently I'm not. So I'm glad you guys dug that. And but I will say, if you got a sketch variant, hang on to it, because we've got a handful more of those left, and then they're all gone. Which, by the way, is another good reason if you are getting the software and you do want it in physical format, grab it now, because if you've got a special request for the sketch variant, stick it in the order notes or send me a note. I will honor it as much as I am able to. But yeah, we only made a few of those, and when they're gone, they are gone. So anyway, that's the thing. All right, so let's give away some stuff. Okay, I'm going to start from the far end of here. These are Eagle Moss graphic novel collections. They are lovely. This one is volume 36, Catwoman, Trail of the Catwoman, which includes also a reprinting of Batman number 62, very early printing of Catwoman. These are hardcover. These are from England. These are gorgeous, and I just happen to have a few extras, so I'm giving them away. All right, for this guy right here, let me get out my graphic slate over here. Hopefully this will work. Don't embarrass me. Boom. All right. This is all comic trivia. All right, and I'm going to be watching the chat up here, and I want to know, for the comic character screen time, who became famous? Some would say infamous this year, as the work of one Daniel Kibblesmith. It was going to be a relaunching of New Warriors. He was not. He was a part of the new Warriors. which never actually managed to ship because I think in great horror at what they were about to do, Marvel pulled back from even pushing this as a digital thing at the last possible minute. But anyway, it featured a number of new characters, Safe Space, Snowflake, and there was one that was kind of like Dora the Explorer with a magic backpack. But anyway, this character, Screen Time's power is he is constantly plugged into the internet. To what mystical device or occurrence does Screen Time owe this power? First one in the chat who answers it gets the Catwoman graphic novel. Let's see what we got here. Come on. Nobody? Oh, man. All right, I'm going to leave that question open, man. But I will watch the chat, and we'll see what happens. But as soon as anyone answers that one, I will hand over the copy of that one. So Screen Time from the New Warriors. How did he get his amazing power of being constantly connected to the internet? And no, the answer is not that he had an Apple. he did not have an Apple Watch. We have Al Gore, no. Dial-up modem, no. The moon, no. Oh, gosh. All right, guys. I know one of you guys is going to come up with this one, but I'm going to move on to the next question in the meantime. But the first one, who answers that one, I will still... Catwoman novel is yours. All right. Back to this one. Next question. Whoops, sorry. That's my screen. All right. For a copy of Green Arrow, Quiver, reprinting. This is volume 37. Originally printed Green Arrow number 1 through 5, and Brave and Bold number 85. All right, this one, I believe, yes, some other possible answers to that one were Disney and Bit by a Radioactive PC. Sadly, still we do not have the right answer on that one. All right, this one. Oh, John for the win. John, experimental internet gas. Yes, you have it. Yes, Screen Time. Let's go back to the graphic here because it's just magical. Screen Time has the ability to always be connected to the internet because he was exposed to, I believe it was his dad's internet gas. Dear God in heaven. And still better than almost all the other origin stories on the New Warriors. No surprise at all why they killed that thing. All right, John, make sure send an email to Pete Bickford at ComicBase.com. I will use that one as the prize redemption thing. Is make sure you include your mailing address and full name and such, and I will get the Catwoman out to you. Sweet. All right, on to the next one. Okay. Yes, and yes, it was fitting because the New Year's became the comic equivalent of vaporware. They were exactly vaporware. Like I said, I've never seen so much hype around a comic. Marvel even filmed their own sizzle reel to show off all the wonders of the New Warriors and how amazingly relevant to today's youth it was all going to be. And at the end, just with no notice whatsoever, when everyone's waiting for their copies to come in on Wednesday, and everyone's like, hey, it never showed. I wonder why. And the Comixology listing laid out there for a long time, then that disappeared. And it's just, Marvel, I think, just slunk away from that one. But, someday, they wrote it, so someday that sucker may become like the graphic novel relaunch of 2021. Hey, maybe it'll be a New Year's surprise for us all. Who knows? All right. All right. So, once again, for the Green Lantern graphic novel, the question is, and let me go for this one now. Okay, this one's easy. This one, if you guys are feeling like this weird internet gas stuff is like too rough, this one, you should have this one 2 seconds, all right? All right, this is about secret identities. What is the secret identity of Harley Quinn? All right, not looking for her first appearance, not looking for, her favorite mallet. Just what did Harley Quinn do for a living before Harley Quinn was Harley Quinn? And, well, actually, give me what she did for a living and give me her full name. Greg C says, did the internet fart on him? All right, so we're looking for Harley Quinn. Real thing. Come on, guys. I know you guys got this one. By the way, this graphic that's up right now is from Batman Adventures Mad Love. An early appearance of Harley Quinn, but not her first appearance at all. That apparently was, I want to say, Batman Adventures 12? It was just from the animated series. It was And Jeff for the win on this one. Harleen Quinzel, and she was a psychologist. Technically psychiatrist, because she could prescribe meds, but she wins. All right, Jeff for the win, man. You get the green arrow. Go ahead and, like I say, send your info to me at Pete Bickford at ComicBase.com, and you got it. Troy, so close, but Jeff just edged you out. But maybe we'll get on the next one. All right. Okay, so back to it. Next up, these are getting better. All right, the return of Barry Allen. I'm going to try to hold it so it does not completely flip around here. And so let's see here. This is volume 48, Return of Barry Allen. Also reprints Superman number 199, which is the Flash Superman race around the world to benefit the United Nations. Wow, much more optimistic time back in August 1967. Anyway, so for this one, and let me check my questions ahead of time. Okay, also, I don't think this one's too ridiculously hard. In Watchmen, so Alan Moore's Watchmen, right? The character Rorschach, and let me pile that one up. Let me get the right graphic on here. That's Harley. There's Rorschach, right? The guy with the ever-shifting mask. Is patterned after what original Charlton Comics character? So if you guys might remember this, Watchmen was Alan Moore getting a chance to play with a bunch of characters that DC managed to pick up through a bunch of mergers and acquisitions and IP sale-offs, but they picked up a bunch of superheroes that had originally come out from Charlton Comics, and he got a chance to do some really weird stuff with them, essentially reinventing them. He didn't use the original names for these characters, but they're very obviously based on certain original Charlton characters. Let's see if who's got this one. Oh, Greg. All right, Greg, that took like 2 seconds. And yes, that was, of course, the question. Right there. Okay, all right, Greg, go ahead. Name, address, and shipping info, and I will get that one out to you. All right, last one up here, guys, and that is the last prize package of the evening, and then we'll move on to other things. All right, let's go and grab it now. Graphic novel, The Swamp Thing, Part 1. This reprints Saga the Swamp Thing number 21 through 27, and also House of Secrets number 92, the first appearance of Mr. Swampy himself. All right, excellent. Which, by the way, was one of the first really valuable comics I ever sold off on Atomic Avenue. And now I'm feeling like, God damn, I should have held on to it. Because it was one of the cooler comics I actually ever had. But, yeah, I made some money. I don't feel badly about that, but, still. Anyway, so for the copy of the graphic novel, Swamp Thing, Part 1. All right, I'm going to show you two characters. I want to know the full name of, and listen to this one closely, all right? I want to know the full name of the character who's the ripoff. And by the way, I'm sorry. I just realized I've been demoing the book to myself this whole time because I'm looking at the wrong monitor. So, Swamp Thing. There we go. Beautiful graphic novel. All right. Ready for the characters? And let's see if we hit the right button here. Boom. We have Submariner and we have Aquaman. As was the way of many things that were introduced in the Golden Age, or even later than that, one company had ripped off another company's character. Who was the ripoff? Not the original. Who was the ripoff? And what is that character's full name? First person to get that walks home with the Swamp Thing graphic novel. All right, let's see how we're doing on this thing. Cast must be the theme of the evening. All right. Come on. What do we got? Waiting on this one. This is fascinating internet, isn't it? All right, I'm going to switch back to myself just so I can riff on this while we're talking. All right, are there any other questions that we want to answer while people are trying to figure this one out, or you're feverishly searching Wikipedia? Oh, yeah, excellent. Mike got it. Mike Beam. Aquaman, and yes, his name is Arthur Curry. So Aquaman is a ripoff of the Submariner, Prince Namor, the Submariner. So Aquaman, and let me see, I think I've got a graphic for this hooked up. Let me see if I can find it. Aquaman was released back in... are you going to come up? Oh, you're not triggering. Heck with you people. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way by queuing it up on my switcher manually. All right, so Aquaman was released back in More Fun Comics. He was a supporting feature back in More Fun Comics number 73. That was back in 1941. Um, Arthur Curry, I believe he was the son of a couple of lighthouse keepers or something. Um, Honestly, he never caught on hugely, and for a while. I want to say maybe his days of being most popular probably when he was in the Saturday morning TV show, the Justice League. But maybe I'm wrong about that. But he was always the character everyone always made fun of, as opposed to Prince Namor, the Submariner, who was introduced as a villain originally, deserved it because he was a jerk. Yeah, he was a jerk through most of his life as a character. But he goes back all the way to the comic that I want for Christmas, Marvel Comics #1 in I want to say October of 1939. I think I got the month right. I definitely got the year right. But 1939, Marvel Comics #1 gave us the original Human Torch, later known as the Vision. It gave us the Submariner. Captain America had his own comic, but that's the whole. If you're a Marvel fanboy at all, that was the one that started the whole thing off. So anyway, yeah, that's the one I want for Christmas. I don't think that's in the budget even slightly, but guy can dream, right? All right. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for playing the trivia on the whole thing, and yeah, we'll take it from there. All right. So let's see. See that issue of Super Team Family for sale on AA. I'm trying to remember, is that a real issue or not? The one where they mucked up between the Submariner and Captain America, or is that just like one? I'm trying to remember if that was a real comic or not. The one that I just showed the graphic of. I'm skeptical about it because it would have been a intercompany crossover, and they're not making any deal about it on the cover. So now I have to look. Let me see. Super Team Family. Nah, no, it's not real. But that would be really cool. Yeah, no, so I'm checking ComicBase, of course. But and by the way, let's go ahead and I'm just going to make the graphics on this ridiculously large. So let's go album view option. See grid cover icon size. Let's go something like 128. All right. So here's Super Team Family. Boom, boom, boom. No, somebody did a great job of mocking that up though, because I mean they did the art style just bang on. Like cue that one up again on the graphics switcher there. I mean that they did a terrific job on that. So yeah, if that's fake, they did a terrific job of it. All right. Well, anyway, that's that guy. All right. Well, thank you for playing trivia on this one. Okay, so we are at 4:47. Oh my God, are we actually on schedule for once in our life? That is unbelievable. Okay, yes. So yes, anyone who won any of the prizes and everything, send to pbickford at comicbase.com. That's a little bit different than the email I typically give out. It should still get to me, but send to me there because that way I'll know it's for a prize reward, and I'll get that out to you straight away. I promise I will mail it to you tomorrow, and you may even have it before the new year. So we'll see. It's going out media mail because, look, I'll give you a free comic, but I'm not giving it to you with express shipping. That's just not going to happen. Okay. All right. Are there any other cool things that we need to talk about right now? Oh yes, yeah, it's a fan-made mock-up. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, great job on that. Can I put the date on the site for the cover disc? Pete, all right. So let me view this in a place where I can show chats more reasonably. Can I hit a refresh? Can I get a refresh? Okay, Andre says, can I put a date on the site for the cover disc? I can take care of submitting the new update info. I don't really understand where. Can I put a date on the site for the cover disc? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're talking about the disc images that we have up there for when you're downloading the original things. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I'll try to see if we can't add that to the descriptions. When there's certain things we're really good at as far as automating, automating them to death. So, for instance, whenever I kick off a new build, it automatically updates in about 4 different places what the latest build was, and updates the main level on the site, and updates the notes, and does things like that. But there's certain things where, like, no, this is a manual database edit to even put that info in there. One of them would be if I were to change the description of the archive download discs. But it's not a bad idea, and I'll see what I can do. By the way, I'm going to give you guys just a random hint here. if you ever wanted to get a feature into ComicBase, or frankly, if it's a technical feature, into Atomic Avenue, because I get dragged into that stuff all the time. Between now and February is the time where you want to mention, or at least start making some noises about that, and seeing if there's any takers on wacky ideas that you'd like to see in the program or anything else. Because this is the time where, like, we've just jumped over this big hurdle of pushing the new release out there. We've had like kind of initial tech support, or just getting people upgraded. Anything that comes along with just having, like, thousands of people move at the same time. And so we're actually at a point where, like, we kind of started looking around at the beginning of the year and saying, well, what we can do for our next trick. And this is the time, if you've got a really good next trick that you'd like to get us interested in doing, and especially if it's something we can, kind of shop it around with other people and say, are there a lot of other people interested in doing the same thing? This is the time to put that up there, because, we've got some time. 2 minutes before we're shipping a new version is the wrong time, because not only are we officially in feature freeze at that point, but we're stressed out like crazy. But right now we're actually, like, things go pretty good. Let's see what we can do. All right. So let me just do another quick check of the chat, and then I think we're probably going to wrap this up. All right, so Greg wants to remind everyone we have a dedicated thread in the ComicBase message board, so you can request live stream topics. Aaron says, is there a way to search for anything in the notes section of the comic title only instead of the whole database? So that is, the notes section for the comic title is called the title comments. So if you search for the title comments contains a certain string, that's where you'll find notes for that. So if you want to say what notes, what titles were continued from, or involve Saga of the Swamp Thing. If you do a search for title comments contains Swamp Thing, then you'll find all the titles that contain that, and that would be the way you'd find that. Troy says, Merry Christmas, everyone, and excellent use of emojis, I gotta say. John echoes the sentiment. And Pete says, Greg reminds me, so before you bail for the evening, you promised me your favorite comic holiday issues. All right. Okay. There's the ones that you should mention because they make you look really cool and sensitive and stuff like that. I mean, and then there's the ones that I gotta admit, I just really like them. I don't know why. It makes me a bad person probably, but I do. I gotta say, the Punisher Holiday Special is probably #1 on my list. Because when the Punisher got to be a character back in the early '90s, when he first came out, he was just like a hitman character. He was just almost like a mob. He was a mob enforcer, but he wasn't working for the mob. He was really working against the mob. But he looked like a mob guy. He had the slick back hair and whatever else. So when the Punisher first showed up in I want to say like the late '70s, early '80s. He wasn't actually that on fire, but by the early '90s, he was absolutely everywhere. And Marvel decided they were going to have a Punisher Holiday Special, which is the least Christmassy thing you could ever think of. You got a guy who whacks criminals for a living, and he's talking about his favorite criminal, his favorite Christmas memories, and lovingly describing his armaments and his lair. And I want to say there was a short feature involving his buddy Microchip where there was actually a moment of a small amount of human warmth that passed between these two guys for a second. And it's like, I just remember reading this as a kid thinking, this is really cool and subversive. So that's probably the #1 that comes to mind. In terms of original covers, I mean, like, you can't beat some of the Barks Duck, Scrooge McDuck Christmas covers. I think those are terrific. I do remember seeing the original good Lord, I'm going to get the dates wrong on this one, but Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was originally a promotional item for, I want to say, Grant's department store. But the reason we all know the song is because of a giveaway on that one. And at some point, someone, I never got a chance to leaf through it, but actually showed me their copy of it, and I thought that was pretty neat. The Simpsons had a bunch of really good Christmas specials, but I'm gonna say Punisher Holiday Special #1. That's the one that I love. All right. Okay, so let's see. What else do we have before we get going on here? I'm just gonna hit refresh one more time. Fuck. Sorry. Refresh. By the way, I discovered just now, I've been doing this, this is our 29th live stream, and I've just now discovered that they have a feature on YouTube called slow scrolling or something like that, where you can make it so the scrolls don't all whiz past you. But the thing that's making it complicated is when I need really up to the second scrolling for things like, you know, who won the prizes, I'm using a view from YouTube, and but I've got another one which does the cute little graphic inset, so when you see when I click on a question that you can actually see in the live stream what anyone asked, and that comes with a bit more of a delay. Aaron or Aaron, God, in the live stream, just tell me, is the accent on the first syllable or the second syllable of your name? I want to get this right, so I don't keep on saying it wrong. He says, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right? Of course it's a Christmas movie. I mean, it's so obvious. Even the screenwriters came out just recently and said it's a Christmas movie. But I mean, if you didn't get the idea that, ho, 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 now I have a machine gun, if you didn't get the idea that meant that this was Christmas, I mean, what's wrong with you? All right. But Aaron says, need more checkboxes, please. Already used the 3 like signed certified sign can't find. Okay, so you're talking about the custom checkboxes. No, I mean, fair enough. So we've got 4 custom fields, 3 custom checkboxes, 2 custom dates. You know, I would say if you're up against it, I would probably go next to one of the custom fields and, you know, put a yes, no, or true, false, or just X or not X in one of those if you need something that is sort of like a got it, don't got it. But no, let's, you know, if you don't mind, send a note to me, either the Pete Bickford at Human Computing or support at ComicBase.com, and just tell me what your situation is exactly, because I just want to see if that, you know, honestly, we're not saying you're right or wrong. I mean, the whole reason behind custom fields is we realized, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff people are going to want to do with this thing that we don't need to fully buy off on. We don't. It doesn't need to become a core feature of the program. We can just say, look, you know, here's a bunch of fields, use them for what you want that you find important. But we had to just sort of randomly choose, you know, what seems like about as many as you'd ever want for these different things. And we came up with the numbers we did, God, I want to say about 20 years ago. It's held up so far, so I feel like if we didn't get it wrong, we got it pretty close to right. But if there is a good reason to go further, you know, hey, we're open to it. You know, so yeah, tell us what you would use them for, and we'll see if that strikes us as something that, you know, other people might want it for as well. We can't have infinite numbers because unfortunately there are actually fields in the database, and each one involves their own set of, you know, import and export logic and indexing and printing and reporting, and, you know, and honestly finding the space on all those dang reports and fields is actually a real pain in the tuchus. But and honestly, and that is one thing that if I could do anything I wanted to with some of the bits on the program, like the report engine, I would love it if there was some intelligent way to say, look, squish the notes field over by just a little bit, because I just want to show one more thing on this line of report and not have it go to a second line. But we've never found a reasonable way to do that sort of thing with the custom fields, because we don't know what you're using them for. So we don't really have a way of saying, just squish one more thing on the one line, as opposed to what we have to do, which is to say, whenever you use custom fields on a line-oriented report, we have to open up a whole second line for each one of those. But yeah, no, I'd be interested in looking into that a little further and seeing what we could do with that. All right. All right. So, yeah, here's this good one, Gregory. Sweet Christmas. Oh, Sweet Christmas, Luke. Oh, says Luke Cage. Arun. Okay, cool. Got it. 4 custom fields, 3 checkboxes, 2 gates, and a partridge and a pear free. Sweet. Got it. Guys, on that one, I think we're going to pack this one in. And we are, gosh, almost exactly at time. Guys, have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. You know, if you celebrate other holidays, have a wonderful whatever you're doing. Honestly, at some point, the Festivus contingent's got to come out and describe, you know, the airing of the grievances and what that tradition's like at your house. At my house, by the way, one thing I will say is we do a thing on Christmas morning where my wife and I alternate this every year, is whatever presents were under the tree for the other person, about half of them disappear the night before, and they get hidden in different places, sometimes all around town, with a weird scavenger, solve the puzzle, escape room from hell, kind of hunt that we set up for each other, where you chase all over the place, solving codes and ciphers and riddles and musical clues and whatever else in order to find the presents that were there just the night before. It's my turn to do the one this year, and I have some evil things in plan for my wife. I'll find out, next week whether it worked out or not. So, guys, have a wonderful one, and I will see all of you next time. Take care. Merry Christmas.